Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Duck Zone 503, talking all things Oregon football. If you're not following, if you're not subscribed already, go and smash those buttons below to join the Duck Zone family, where we're always talking Oregon football. All right, let's get into this video, guys. The season's so close, just a couple weeks away. Cannot wait to kick off the season in Atlanta on September 3rd. I'll be there. I'll see you guys down there, Duck fans, if you're going to Atlanta. Cheers. Georgia fans, if you're going to be there, cheers. Cannot wait. Going to be a great way to kick off the season down there. But today is August 18th, which makes it prime time for some preview and prediction time, which we're going to get into today. I'm going to go ahead and do some record predictions for the Pac-12 North. And I'm going to do another video doing some record predictions for the Pac-12 South. So be on the lookout for that as well. Gonna go ahead and just pull up each Pac-12 North schedule, do some rapid fire. Not gonna take too much time on these. Rapid fire, win-loss on each game they got, and then give your final record prediction for each team and see where they stack up in the rankings at the end of the video. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. Pac-12 North record predictions. Let's go ahead and start out with California Golden Bears. Now, really struggled last year. Not sure if I'm expecting much more this year, but let's go ahead and get into it. Versus UC Davis, home opener. You're at home. It's your season opener. A lot to be excited about. Always a lot to be excited about for each team coming into a new season. UC Davis, you should win that game. I got to win for Cal there. Versus UNLV. Now this is up in competition. I think they're a little better than UC Davis, but UNLV wasn't much to write home about last year. And Cal being at home, I got a slight win for them there. At Notre Dame, I got a loss there, quick and easy. Notre Dame will be a top 15 team. First road game, never easy. Going to play that as a road game in Notre Dame, that's going to be tough. All right, at home against Arizona. Now, you might think Cal might have an edge here. I got a loss here. I think Arizona will have a bit of an offense that will be hard to handle for Cal. I honestly do. Jaden DeLora and those wide receivers at Arizona are nothing to play around about. At Washington State, another road game here. Never easy to play in Wazoo. On top of that, what I just said about Arizona. Washington State's kind of like Arizona. They're on the up and up. They're a down low team, that hasn't had recent success as of late, but I think they're on the up and up, especially with transfer quarterback Cam Ward. And I will be saying his name a few times in this video because I do think he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in this league. And you'll see why this season. Okay, another road game. I got that as a loss for Washington State. Another road game against Colorado. Colorado, second road game. You're going up in elevation. That's never easy. I do got a close win for Colorado there. I don't think Colorado's much of a better team talent-wise than Cal, but just that home edge for Colorado, I think that'll get him some wins. Versus Washington next for Cal. Washington, they play Washington tough. They really do. When Washington was at their best, they beat them twice. I remember those years. But I do got a loss this year. I think Washington being at home, I think at this point of the season, Washington will hone in. I think their defense will really clamp down on Cal. It'll be tough for Cal to score. Same thing with Oregon. They're going to go be at home against Oregon. Oregon has struggled with Cal over the years, here and there. Last year was a tough battle with Cal at home, only won by 1 touchdown. They were that close from scoring and tying up the game and sending to overtime, but I do think Oregon will handle business out there in Berkeley. Go to USC. The losing streak is starting to mount up here. At USC, I think USC at this point of the season will be really strong. Got a loss for Cal there. At Oregon State, going to Corvallis. I think Oregon State has a little bit more talent than Cal, and I think their offense will handle the game. I got a loss there for Cal as well. Versus Stanford, big time rivalry here. Stanford and Cal, man, these guys have been going at it for years. I don't know if Stanford will necessarily have a great year as well. Both teams are going to want this game. Cal being at home, I'm going to go ahead and give Cal the edge there. I got a win for Cal versus Stanford. All right. At home against UCLA to end the season. UCLA, I think they're one of the better teams in the conference. I think their offense is one of the better offenses in all of college football this year. Being coached by Chip Kelly as well. So I got a loss there for Cal with a final record prediction of 3-9, 1-8 in conference. I don't know if Cal is going to do that great this year. I think they got some rebuilding to do. All right, let's jump to Stanford. Stanford Cardinal. They're going to go ahead and open their season against Colgate. I don't know that school. I probably know the toothpaste brand better than I know the school. Got a win there for Stanford. Then they're gonna play USC in their second home game, as they always do. They play USC in that second week, and I think USC has got some things to figure out. It's a new team, okay, and a lot of these preview predictions got USC, college football playoff contender. I think early, with a new coach, new coaching staff, and a new quarterback, a new system. It's hard for that to gel fast. As much as fans would like to see that stuff gel fast, it takes time. It takes time to implement what you want to do as a coach. And I got Stanford winning this one. I got an upset here. I think USC is going to have to take some lumps early before they really start figuring out. I think this is one of them. Stanford, I got you beating USC at home early. All right, at Washington. Washington is a tough place to play. I think Washington's defense is going to be pretty good this year. I got a loss there. At Oregon, I got a loss there. Stanford beat Oregon last year. I think Oregon's going to be ready for that. Oregon's at home. Got a loss there. Versus Oregon State at home against Oregon State. Oregon State is a good team. I think Jonathan Smith, they're on the up and up. But because Stanford's at home, I think Stanford's a little bit more physical than Oregon State. I think Stanford will get the win here as well. All right, at Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame is a really good team. This is in the middle of the season in their place. I think Notre Dame just has a little bit too much talent to handle for Stanford. That's a loss there. At Arizona State. Arizona State is probably the worst team in the conference, in my opinion. I think that's going to be a win for Stanford. At UCLA. Again, I think UCLA's offense is going to be too much to handle, too much talent. I think that's a loss there. Home against Washington State. I do have Washington State winning a close one here. I think Cam Ward and that offense will be a little bit too much to handle for Stanford, but I do think it will be close. At Utah, I think Utah it will out-physical Stanford as much as Stanford wants to be physical. I think Utah will out-Stanford. It will be a loss. At Cal. Now, Cal-Stanford is a big-time rivalry. I just covered it. I think Cal gets the victory. Stanford, you're on a losing streak. I think morale will be down. It's towards the end of the season. You're in Cal, in Berkeley. I think that's a loss. Versus BYU to end the season. BYU is going to be a good team. Again this year, they returned 86% of their roster from last year, from that team that went 5-0 against the Pac-12 last year. I think that's a loss. I think they're going to end their season pretty bad. Starting though, I got them beating USC. I got them beating Oregon State. I think they'll be pretty competitive at home and get these teams in early to be able to knock one or two of them off. So I got a final record prediction of 4-8, 3-6 in conference for Stanford. Let's go ahead and move on to the Oregon State Beavers, little brothers I like to call them. They're going to go ahead and open their season against Boise State. I got a win for them. I honestly think they're, that home opener, there's going to be, a whole bunch of energy in the building. I got a close win against Boise State. I do. It's kind of a toss-up for me. It was hard. I was like, I don't know. Boise State usually beats the Pac-12 teams like Oregon and stuff. But being at home, I'm going to give the slight edge to Oregon State. And then they go on the road to Fresno State. I think, Fresno State lost their coach last year, but Fresno State has been competitive over the last few years. They were pretty competitive with Oregon in their home opener last year. Beat UCLA on the road. I think they're gonna take a loss here. I think Oregon State will take a loss. They're on the road. They're gonna come home against Montana. Now watch out. Montana beat Washington. Husky fans gasp at that. They close their eyes. I think Oregon State will handle business at home, get a win there. Now, Oregon State home against USC. Like I said, USC will take their lumps. Oregon State and Jonathan Smith at home. Go ahead and research Oregon State USC past matchups. Oregon State at home has been a problem for USC, and I think that will happen again. I think Jonathan Smith and Oregon State will upset USC. I think USC will take some lumps early. At Utah next, I think Utah will be a little bit too more physical. I got a loss there. At Stanford. Now, Oregon State should win this game on talent, but being at Stanford's pretty physical. They play a physical brand of football. I think they can match up with Oregon State pretty well. I got a loss there for Oregon State. Versus Washington State, at home against Washington State. I got a loss there, okay? I think Cam Ward and that Washington State crew will have some good things to say about their team this year. And we're going to see it on the field. Home against Colorado, I got a win there, okay? Colorado, they're not, I think they lost a lot of transfers this year, a lot of coaching turnover there. I think they're going to be rebuilding this year. So I got a win for Oregon State there. They're going to go on the road to Washington. I think this will be a close one, but I think Washington defensively will lock down Oregon State to get the W for them. That's a loss for Oregon State. Home against Cal. I think Cal's one of the weaker teams in the conference. I think Oregon State will have enough talent to overcome Cal. Then they go on the road against Arizona State. I also think that's a win. Arizona State, I said it already. I think they're one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the conference. I got a win there. And then the Civil War at home against Oregon. Now they're at home. I think they'll be juiced for this one. Oregon State wants one, but it's a loss. I got a close loss to Oregon. I think Oregon will get things done for a final record of 6-6. 4-5 in conference for the Beavers. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Washington Huskies. The Fuskies, Huck the Fuskies. All right, Washington. So they're going to open their season against Kent State. We all know the story last year, how they opened their season against Montana. And I'm not doing this to troll. I do see a loss against Kent State, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why real quick. I'll tell you why. Kent State, look up their offense. They have one of the better offenses in college football, okay? They're explosive. They can put up points, okay? While I do think Washington being at home and having a good defense will help them in this game, you're bringing in a new coaching staff, a new system. I'm going to say this throughout the video. It's pretty consistent. And I think that is bound to take lumps early. I really do, especially in a first-year coach. I think they'll lose against Kent State. I really do. I think Kent State can put up some points. I think it's going to take some time for this system to come about for Washington. And I think they're a good team, but I just think they're going to take some lumps. They come home against Portland State. I think this is where they'll regain their heads, regain some traction. It will shock a lot of folks when Kent State beats Washington, but I think against Portland State, they'll get the win, they'll rebound. Versus Michigan State, this is a big-time matchup, Big Ten, Pac-12 here. I will low-key be rooting for Washington. I kind of do back the Pac as much as I hate Washington. I hope they do beat Michigan State. Do I see that happening? No. Michigan State, I think they'll get the win there. They're just talent-wise, I think they're a better team. I think it will be close for that game. Then they're going to open Pac-12 play against Stanford. I think that's a win, being at home. Stanford, I think there will be a better team. I think they're just, defensively they'll lock down Stanford. I don't know if Stanford will move the ball enough. At UCLA, again, I think their offense is one of the better offenses in college football this year. Got a lot of returning production on offense for UCLA. That's a loss for me on the road. Washington will take a loss there. Second road game in a row at Arizona State. Arizona State, again, I don't know how many games they'll win at all. Got a win for Washington there. Home against Arizona. Now, Arizona, I think they'll be new and improved. Jade Delora at quarterback and stuff like that. I think Washington being at home will get the edge, get the win there. On the road to Cal. Again, Cal, one of the weaker teams in the conference. I think that's a win there. Not much to say about that. Home against Oregon State. Now, Oregon State, I think they can put up a fight here. I think they got a fair enough amount of talent to play with Washington. I honestly think Washington and Oregon State have the talent gap is not much. I think they have a close fair amount of talent compared to them. I think it will be a close game, but I do have Washington winning that game. Then the big time rivalry every year. They're going to go to Eugene this year. It's going to be big. That's going to be a loss. I'm sorry, Washington. You guys only won in Eugene once over the last 20 years, man. It's going to be tough for you guys to win. I got a loss there. At home against Colorado, I think you'll rebound against Colorado. Colorado, one of the weaker teams in the conference. I think you'll get a win there. And then the Apple Cup at Washington State. This is going to be a big time game, just like it was last year. And I think Washington State Cougars have something to say this year. I really do. I'm drinking the Washington State Kool-Aid for whatever reason. I feel like Cam Ward and those position players that they got, I think they'll get it done. I do got a loss there for Washington. I think at Washington State for the Apple Cup later in the year, I think that offense will get it moving against Washington. I really do. Speaking of Washington State, let's bring up their schedule. Let's do them next. So Washington State, I'm pretty high on Washington State. I'm kind of drinking their Kool-Aid a little bit this year. Let's go and break it down. Versus Idaho, I do got to win Idaho. A lot of Pac-12 teams play them in the non-conference, and a lot of Pac-12 teams beat them in the non-conference. Big time game. I'll definitely be rooting for Washington State in this one at Wisconsin. Big Ten Pac-12 matchup here, another big one. I do think Wisconsin is just too physical, too big on the line for Washington State, though. I think they'll push them around, probably hold the ball, and Wisconsin will probably win a close one. I think it will be close. I think Washington State will impress some people with their offense, but I think Wisconsin will end up getting the W at home there. Come home against Colorado State. That's an easy win for me for Washington State. I think their offense will shine. Home against Oregon. Now, this is a big one. Home against Oregon. Oregon is 3-4 in the last 7 years against Washington State. Washington State has been a tough opponent for Oregon. Wazoo is never an easy place to play for Oregon. I mean, just look at the past years. It's been tough, and it's early in the year. Oregon's going to have a new coaching staff, a new system in place. I got a win here for Washington State. I think they'll upset Oregon. I really do. I think with Cam Ward and the offense they got, the position players, Oregon's got a young, inexperienced secondary. Early in the season, getting to Oregon with that young, experienced secondary, I think Washington State can take advantage of that. I really do. And that will shock a lot of Duck fans. But I got a win here for Washington State. Home against Cal. I got a win there for Washington State. Cal's one of the weaker teams. I think their offense will shine. On the road against USC. I think USC will start hitting their groove midpoint in the season here. You're on the road. I think USC just has too much talent to handle for Washington State at this point of the season. I think that's a loss. On the road, second road game at Oregon State. I think this will be a really, really good game. I think Oregon State just has a little bit more talent, but I think Washington State's offense will outscore. I think it's going to be a close game. It's a toss-up for me. It's going to be a high-scoring game for sure. But I think Washington State will outscore Oregon State in the end and get the win on the road. Utah. Come home against Utah. I think Utah is too physical on the line. I think Utah will get the win here. At Stanford, you go to Stanford. I think Stanford's one of the weaker teams. I think you get a win there. Home against Arizona State. Arizona State, trash. That's a win. At Arizona. Now, I think this, again, will be kind of like an Oregon State high-scoring back-and-forth game. Since Arizona's at home, I gave the edge to Arizona here. That's a loss for Washington State. I think Arizona being at home, two explosive offenses dueling it out, I think Arizona will get the edge. Home against Washington, just covered this, the Apple Cup. I think Washington State will get the win in a close game, being at home. Cam Ward, I think their offense will outduels Washington defense for a final record of 8-4 and 6-3 in the Pac-12. All right, guys, so we've been waiting for it. The last team to cover here. I got Oregon, our Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks. Made it to the end of the video, and you're an Oregon fan, go Ducks, baby. All right, 2022 record prediction for the Oregon Ducks. We start our season at Georgia September 3rd. I'll be there. Big time game. Of course, I want to see our Ducks, win that game, and I think it will be a close one. I really do. I got a close one, but I think Georgia's offensive line, their depth will play a role in those third and fourth quarters. I got a loss against Georgia. Versus Eastern Washington, okay? FCS opponent, Eastern Washington, they were nice in their Vernon Adams days. They were pretty good, but they haven't been that good as of late. I got a win there for Oregon in their home opener. Autzen will be rocking. Home against BYU. This is a big time game, okay? BYU, the Cougars, went 5-0 against the Pac-12. This won't be easy. They were a top 15 team. They returned 86% of their production, and their coach comes back, and they got a nice recruiting class that came in. I got BYU beating Oregon. I do. I think BYU beats Oregon, and I think Oregon is going to take some lumps early in the season, just like some of these other teams that I've talked about. I think when you bring in a new coaching staff, a new system, a new quarterback, and you're trying to implement what you want to do, on paper, sure, it looks great. It looks like it's going to roll. But in real life, on real football teams, it takes time. It takes experience with each other and games. You got to stack games with each other to really get things down. It takes time. And I think BYU is just a step ahead of Oregon in that category. Talent-wise, Oregon should win this game on paper, but I just think realistically, BYU returning all that production will get the win in Oregon. I really do. Next, at Washington State, I just covered this. Washington State will get the win. This is your first Pac-12 game. I think starting out the season 1-2 will kind of play on your morale a little bit. Playing in Wazoo is never easy. Those fans out there go crazy every time Oregon comes out there. It's like the Super Bowl. And inexperienced, young DBs for Oregon, I think will play a role here. And I think Cam Ward and that offense will get a close overtime, maybe, victory against Oregon. I do. And Oregon will start out the season 1-3. Versus Stanford. Stanford beat us last year. We're going to want revenge. Autzen will be rocking for this. We're just going to start out 1-3. There's no way Oregon's going to be looking past this. I think they'll get a win. On the road against Arizona. Now, going to the desert against these Arizona schools, doesn't matter how good or bad they are, is always scary for Duck fans. We know this. But talent-wise, up front, and, the way we start out the season, the way I'm predicting it, I think they're going to be hungry. I think they're going to be like, nah, this ain't us. Let's kick it into high gear. They get a win against Arizona. Home against UCLA. Now, UCLA, I think they'll be undefeated at this point. UCLA will be a top 10 team. I think this will be a big-time matchup. I think UCLA will be a higher-ranked team coming into Autzen. This will be a crazy game. I got, last year, it was a close game. The year before that, it was a crazy close game with UCLA. This will be a close game, but I got Oregon winning because we're at home. It's Autzen. Oregon will get the win. Go on the road against Cal. It was a tough game last year against Cal, and Oregon does struggle at times with Cal. But I think Oregon should win this one off talent alone. Go to the road, second road game. High elevation. Always tough to play in high elevation for your second road game, especially. I think Colorado will do some things early on to shock Oregon, but I think Oregon finishes things off and gets the win. Home against Washington. Big-time rivalry. We know what it is. Oregon will get the win. Oregon will be up for this one. Home against Utah. Now, Oregon fans are circling this one. We are circling this one. This will be big. This will be tough. And I think later in the season, I think Oregon will be ready. I got to win against Utah. I think Oregon will be ready at home. I think that's going to be a big time advantage for Oregon being at home late in the season in November. Oregon will be ready for Utah. At Oregon State, big time Civil War matchup. You're at Oregon State, which is tough. But their stadium is limited capacity this year because of all the renovation they're doing. I got to win there. So that's my Pac-12 North standings for Oregon there. I got a final predicted record of 9-3, 8-1 in conference. I think they will struggle early. I think there will be an early upset with Washington State just because of those inexperienced DBs and stuff. But 9-3, that's what most people are predicting. 9-3, 10-2. And I got them, later in the season once things kind of gel, I got them rattling off wins like crazy. So, yeah, my Pac-12 standings go, for the North go Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, Washington State, and Oregon. For a Pac-12 championship game, I got Oregon versus UCLA. Now, I got UCLA and Utah kind of having the same conference record, but UCLA, I got UCLA and Oregon both beating Utah in their matchup. So I'll make Oregon UCLA play for a second time. This will be a big-time game, but I think Oregon losing last year, Pac-12 championship, they're going to be hungry for this one, and they're going to go get it. I think Chip Kelly will almost be there, but Oregon's going to go get it. All right, guys, so that's my Pac-12 North record predictions there. Excuse me, guys. I don't know, man, what I ate. record predictions there. My Pac-12 North record predictions. I got a Pac-12 South record predictions video coming up next. Go ahead and check that out. And let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about these predictions and give me your predictions. I always like to have a good conversation in the comments. All right, go ahead and like the video if you made it to this point. Go ahead and drop a comment. Just go Ducks. Go ahead and subscribe. Join the family if you haven't already. As always, go Ducks.